I feel like I spent more time at the movies this year than with my own family.
Nah, that's valid.
If I'm being real, this was like my AMC A-lister year, and I got my money's worth. I don't know about y'all, but like
AMC
my butt was in it. My butt was in a theater. My butt was in a theater a lot.
That's you know what? Let's let everybody know that this video is unofficially sponsored by AMC theaters.
Not sponsored, but we would like them to.
AMC, if you're watching this, we love y'all. We love your membership. We love
and
your
for our
membership.
Canadian viewership, Cineplex, please reach out by all means.
We're Canadian.
I need those scene points. I need them right now.
Oh my gosh, this is gonna be so much fun. What's up, y'all? This is Preet's Perspective with me, Preeta, and welcome to the Oscars Roundtable 2026. Woo! We are joined by some familiar faces and a new face. We're joined by Craig, aka Canadian OP. We've got Alice, who is our jazz artist OP, and we've got Nicole, aka Firewriter OP in the house.
Hey.
Woo-woo. How's everybody doing?
Good.
I hope
good
you guys
so far.
Tired.
Yeah.
I hope everybody's staying
cold.
I hope
warm.
everybody's staying warm in these frosty times. And well, we have officially entered our awards season, and this year it's been a mixed bag for me, honestly. I've loved like how people are rallying behind original films, but then IP is also like it's just there. It can be better though. What do you guys think?
There was a lot of confident swings made this year, which I do love to see. I like seeing that more than just like, sequel bait remakes and like legacy sequels. My money's on Back to the Future being the next legacy sequel while Lloyd is still around.
Okay. Wait, Alice, Nicole, what about you guys?
I feel like I think there's been a bit of a step back in terms of representation, which I think there's a lot to celebrate, which is great.
Right.
But like numbers wise, it's been not good. Like we're at the lowest amount of like non-male directors in a year since like 2021, 2022. And then like, which is just such a shame, but there have been so many great things to come out of diverse filmmakers this year, and some of them are actually being acknowledged, some aren't. Like there are some snubs that I'm really not happy about.
Yes.
But I also think that the snub conversation has gotten overtaken by just people loving something or loving a person and wanting that to be acknowledged and represented, and not necessarily the spirit of the award, which was the best or most impactful or most important performance of that category of this year. And I think that there's a lot of like fangirl blindness that people are having, and I guess we'll get into that once we get into the characters. Into the particular nominations. But I have some controversial opinions.
Particular nomination, and I absolutely don't want him to win.
Okay, we disagree on that, but we'll get there. I have some unpopular opinions about several things, and I feel very strongly about
this was in my experience, and I know this is a very unpopular opinion because there was a lot of great movies, a lot of great performances this year. Personally, for me, it was a year of a lot of 7.5 and 8 out of 10 movies, which is, again, really, they're good movies that I enjoyed watching, but like a lot of these like lists and picking a nomination this year has been hard because I'm agreeing that they're good, but there's not one that really is like, oh, I would die on the hill to get that person the award.
You're right.
So it's a tough one. It's really hard choice to make.
I feel difficultly because I agree that like a lot of the prestige films this year had things that I would really nitpick. And then a lot of my favorite movies of this year were kind of either indie or wild card choices that like certainly we're not going to get nominated for anything, or just like maybe in a perfect world they might have. But like a lot of my, when I was going through like my Letterboxd like top 10 of 2025, I remembered talking to some people at work who were like kind of joking that I was like a performative cinephile because they hadn't heard of half of them. And I was like, well, most of these I saw on AMC. So like, it's not like they weren't shown at any mainstream retailers. So like, whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I think even a lot of the great movies of this year were like not even the best work of that filmmaker.
You're
I agree
right.
with that.
Yeah, kind of felt like it.
And everyone's just kind of dick riding because they are excited that people give a shit about film now.
As much as I liked both of them, apparently this has proven that more Safdie does not necessarily mean better Safdie. Truly.
Woo, woo, woo.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of
Finally.
controversy and tea going on with that right now. With that
Finally.
new article that
Someone-
just came out. So I'm very like.
I mean, well, this is like the Coen brothers trying to go off and do their own thing, and now Ethan's just
God.
swinging and
Yeah.
desperately trying to make
Okay.
contact with
I'm like,
something.
cut that out.
Okay.
No, yeah, I
right.
totally agree with that. Like, what was it freaking called? Not
Honey, don't.
Honey,
Yes,
No.
one of the
God,
worst
No.
movies of the
Honey,
year.
why?
Honey,
Why?
why? And
Honey,
actually,
why?
honey,
So horrifically
Don't.
disappointing, and I was so
Honey,
so
stop.
looking forward to it, and
yeah.
it was
Oh my gosh.
such an unbelievable letdown.
Well, because I
It was.
adore Margaret Qualley. She's done some incredible movies,
Me
and
too.
I don't know if it truly is just like a matter of like direction, or if it's just
Yeah.
like sometimes you hit the mark, sometimes you don't kind of thing. But
Exactly.
I feel like if a movie that's supposed to be about fun, violent lesbians, and the most interesting part of the movie is Chris Evans,
Oh
you
god.
have missed
Yeah.
that. I found him very compelling because was kind of a very Ransom from Knives Out-esque
Yeah.
villain. And I find him very compelling in those kinds of roles because he can really have fun with it.
Right.
And he's really good at kind of playing against type in the like his like cocky anti-Captain America thing. Like you can really tell he experiences a lot of joy and freedom in those kinds of roles.
Mhm.
But the point of the movie was not supposed to be that. So like if
Exactly.
that for me was the standout of the film, to me that means that the film was not successful.
I think it's telling
yeah.
that that's the strongest part of the movie, and if Ethan's really trying to make it like a like lesbian revenge thriller, fun
yeah.
romp or whatever, and that's the part that he's struggling with, you know, it kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
And since we are talking about supporting characters, let's get on with our first category. All right. So here's how the structure is going to go. We are going to go over the big 6 categories. And before maybe Best Director, we're going to have some time for our snubs and controversies. And our first category is going to be Best Supporting Actor, Male. And here are your nominees. We've got Benicio del Toro for One Battle After Another, Jacob Elordi for Frankenstein, Delroy Lindo for Sinners, Sean Penn, One Battle After Another, and Stellan Skarsgård for Sentimental Value. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna pick out who is more likely to win, whom do you want to win, and who do you think is going to be the Oscar surprise or the Oscar wild card?
So
as we
like
call it.
pick prediction dark horse.
Yes, pick
Okay.
prediction dark horse.
Okay.
Who wants to go first?
I think I'm in a rare position for me where I've seen all of the nominees in this category.
Mm-hmm.
So I do feel like I can give a pretty educated opinion
All right.
on it. I think my pick and prediction.
Mhm.
Okay, well, that's not true. My prediction, I would pick. Like, I'm not saying that I don't think that he's like, I'd be thrilled if he won. It's just like my prediction / hope is Delroy Lindo.
Yeah.
Even though I don't necessarily like, he wasn't like what made that movie it. And I think a lot of times with Best Supporting Actor, it's like that needs to have stolen the show in some way. Like, that's why you get a lot of these rare supporting actors where like they have really little screen time, but they were just so captivating that it drew you. And for me, that was Stellan Skarsgård. And I'm a big Skarsgård fan, and I think that was such a beautiful role for him. And I was very moved by that character, and that felt very real to me. And I feel like none of the rest of the movie would have made sense if his core, because the whole movie revolves around his character, even though he's a supporting character. The whole thing is this father who is a filmmaker who made a movie with his young daughter and then left them and then came back. Like, even though he's a supporting character in the narrative, he is the core of the story. And without that kind of centering and grounding, the movie could have had a very different tone and vibe and not been as personally affecting to me. And then I think that a surprise could be Sean Penn. And the reason why I think him and not Benicio del Toro is because I'm thinking about name recognition with Academy old heads who are just reading the list or who have only seen one or two of the movies. And they're like, oh, I haven't seen this guy on here in a while. And like, he was canceled and now he's back. That's fun. Like, if we're thinking about random surprises, I feel like a lot of times it comes down to something like that. So not to discount his performance as much as I think he's a controversial person. I think it was a strong performance, but it was a little too campy for me.
Right.
Just like it veered a little too, it teetered too close to the edge of cartoonishness, which is, spoiler alert, how I felt about a lot of the film. But so I guess my prediction would be Delroy, pick would be Stellan, and surprise would be Penn. But that's not to discount any of the others.
Damn. All right, Nicole, Craig, what about you guys?
I think I got my 3.
Okay.
I think having 2 from one battle in this category is interesting because they captured like a lot of what I liked and what a lot of didn't work for me about that movie. Like both of them in parts. I fully agree with you about like, I did not enjoy watching Sean Penn in the movie. I found him like very uncomfortable. I found him kind of disturbing, and I think that means his character worked really well.
Yeah,
for what his point was.
That was
the point. Exactly, right? And I think all these little details that he put into Lockjaw, like the little twitches and the
walk
things,
and the way he combs his hair.
Just everything. He's
that's
very
another movie, but
but truly, like he's such an uncomfortable character to just spend time with, and it's the fact he spends so much time with him. But he's also like, he's more of a, I guess, impactful character in that movie than Benicio, just by terms of like how much of the movie he is present for. But that doesn't mean I don't think Benicio represents like the heart of hope, right? Versus like the strong arm of the law, and the two kind of the dynamic of that's going on around Leo in the middle, right? So I think between the two of them, I enjoy, of course, Benicio del Toro more. So I'd probably pick Benicio del Toro. I predict Sean Penn, though, because I think a lot of people still see him as like the core of that movie. And then my dark horse would probably be Delroy Lindo, because I think just the fact he's on the list, I thought was incredible. I think Jacob Elordi was fun in Frankenstein. I don't know if he was necessarily like the best supporting actor, but it was fun. It was cool to see him.
I did really love him as Frankenstein.
Oh, he was good. He was the best part of that movie, I will say. Like, he was the best part of Frankenstein.
Thank you for saying that. I needed
easily
to say that easily.
And Stellan, of course, I love him. I have to admit, I have not seen Sentimental yet, and I need to, because
you need to watch it.
Which is why this is a uninformed opinion that would probably get swung by that. So I'll have to get back to you on that one. But currently, that's where I stand.
Like
So
half
pick
the actor
Benicio.
nominations are from that movie.
Yeah.
Hey, if you told me that before the 22nd, then I probably would have put some more effort into watching it. But yeah, so that's where I sit.
Okay, so for me, I mean, I think the pick is gonna go most likely to Stellan Skarsgård. I think it just is going that direction. I feel like sentimental value needs to get a win somewhere, and this is where I could see the recognition happening for it. Plus, his performance was so moving in that film; it would have not worked without him, and I really, really enjoyed it. But also, my dark horse is definitely Delroy Lindo. I mean, him getting in absolutely was just the best surprise. Broke my heart for Paul Mescal, but I went, this is just, it's nothing I'm not like, I'm gonna be crying over, because I'm like, I'm just so happy he got in. I was like, oh, America Ferrera this year for Barbie. In this way, Delroy Lindo got in. And I really enjoyed his presence in the Film and Centers. I think that would be the best surprise of the night, honestly. Everyone would go, oh my gosh. But also justice for Defy Bloods, because he did not get Oscar nominated. So I was like, finally he got in here. So then,
the way I've been saying this and standing that movie for years.
Yeah, no, this is justice for it. I'm just so happy for it. And then I would say, I think the surprise of like a pick, because just looking at the other categories, Frankenstein wouldn't work without Elordi. Like, he carries the second half of that film. He is very much so the heart of that film. And it's a performance that reminds me back in the day with Andy Serkis, with how he did his performance capture, and how now we've kind of moved more into more of an accepting territory of recognizing that kind of performance. And him also getting Critics' Choice as well was a huge surprise, and kind of like started changing the tide here, and him getting into every 10 poll, which is great. And right now, what's coming up with BAFTA and with SAG, that's really going to start, solidifying where we're going here.
You're right.
And the Academy likes to award an ingenue every year or so. And the other categories, where Chase Infinity missed here, Jacob Elordi kind of now has that shine to it. So there is a shot that maybe this could be your surprise here. I feel like, and as much as I like one bad after another, Benicio and Penn are splitting the vote here, which is why I don't see it going either or, unless, there's a wave change in BAFTA and SAG. It's more so with me going Stellan, Jacob, and then the surprise being Delroy Lindo.
Got it.
That's a really interesting point.
No, it's fascinating too. Like I think they might have shot themselves in the foot a little bit by spreading their campaigns too thin between the two of them, right? Like,
yeah.
But yeah, I that whole thing about the youngins, it's basically
the idea of the ingenue or the newcomer.
Yeah,
I mean,
you're
right.
Who else is amongst
And
that
with
category?
Ariana not being there too.
Exactly.
Bingo.
Amongst that cast, so Jacob Elordi and of course oh my gosh, why is he escaping me at the moment? Timothy Chalamet. And just because he hasn't gotten something yet, I'm more just saying the next young gen actors that are going to be up for noms this year. It's
the future
interesting.
of leading men.
Exactly.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Who will usurp who is the next Leo,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
All right.
So ironically, Leo didn't win the Oscar until The Revenant. Long after he was White Boy.
That's true. That is true. All right. My picks. So the pick, obviously I'm leaning more towards Stellan. Although Jacob also is sort of reaching there, because comparing the awards they have won, Stellan won the Golden Globe and Jacob won the the Critics' Choice. You're right. Both of them are pretty much like 1 point tied to each other in the lead up. Obviously the BAFTAs and the SAG-AFTRA is going to change this.
The Actor Awards.
The Actor Awards. Why do they have to change the name to that? Blech.
I don't know how I feel about it.
Yeah. I mean, my personal pick would obviously be Delroy. I loved Delta Slim in the movie. Like, yes, give me more. And I just love the fact that he played Delta Slim in such an unapologetic way. He knows that he's a sinner. He knows that he's done some mistakes, and he knows that he has a past which he cannot run away from. So when the moment comes for his redemption, it's like, you know it's coming, but at the same time, you're like, oh no, not Delta Slim, not Delta Slim. And my surprise would, I want to say my surprise would actually be Benicio. I mean, yeah, I can see him being a surprise because, well, I don't know whether he has won an Oscar before, but he got nominated. I don't think he has won. But I think considering the times, considering everything, people would want to go for someone who has a, touch of humanity type role, and Sensei is
that a few small beers line.
Small beers.
That clip everywhere.
Yeah, I've had a few small beers, and him just being that unapologetic person standing up to authority. I think if Oscars do play their cards right, unlike other award shows, this might just be the wildest card we get to see on an award stage.
Now, Benicio has gotten the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor before for Traffic back in 2001.
Really?
So it's been a while since he's been up for it. But
well, Aiden Brody also won, but after a while.
Mm-hmm.
And then he went on a never-ending freaking speech.
I feel like 25 years is probably a valid amount of time to wait before reconsidering someone for another Academy Award.
Yeah.
And it wasn't going to happen with the Phoenician scheme. So.
Oh, God, no.
No shame.
I mean, yeah. And plus, Wes, what were you thinking? Yeah, all right. Let's move on. Let's go to our next category. We've got Best Actress in a Supporting Role. We've got Elle Fanning in Sentimental Value. Okay, I'm going to pronounce this so badly, so please, I apologize. Inga Ipstadter-Lilies for Sentimental Value. Amy Madigan for Weapons. Wumi Mosaku from Sinners, and Tiana Taylor for One Battle After Another. Okay, this is a really interesting category.
It really is.
Yeah.
Okay. I think I have it locked in immediately, though. Like, this is one of those categories I'm just, okay. Out of everyone here, again, Sentimental Value has a big appearance, so it could probably swing my opinions completely. But from the people I'm confident about, I would pick, for me, is undeniably Amy Madigan. I adored Amy Madigan. I was a big fan of Weapons generally. I thought she was incredible. We'll get into Snubs a little bit later, of course, because I think Julia Garner should be up for Best Actress this year easily. For whatever reason, she's not. But yes, so just for the only chance to give any love to the horror genre, and specifically Weapons in particular, I'm going Amy Madigan for my pick. Prediction, though, Wumi Mosaku, absolutely, fully deserves it. She is like the heart and soul of Sinners, like quite literally, and is a fascinating character in that world that starts making it reach that level of like magical realism a little bit in elements of Sinners. Granted, it's an explicitly magical movie with, vampires and all that, but for the parts of it that are trying to replicate a bit more that kind of a Southern life, close community ties, family elements. Yeah. So I would probably predict that it's going to her. And then Dark Horse. I think Dark Horse I would do... Well, maybe it's not as much of a dark horse. It's just I have a third one to give away. Probably Inga. If she isn't the actual one that ends up getting it. So, yeah, pick Amy. Prediction, Wunmi, and then dark horse is Inga for me.
That's cool.
It was very interesting. I think it's one thing that I think is interesting here is that we have a couple of characters. Well, we have characters that have a lot of different types of niches in the supporting category.
Right.
But I think that Wumi and Inga fit the same niche for their film, which is being kind of the heart of the film.
Mhm.
And I think that, and both of them, unless I'm mistaken, both of them are relative newcomers to the world stage in terms of like wider recognition. I know for certain that Inga is, because she was casted from an open casting. Wumi I wasn't familiar with prior, but that could just be a me problem. But I did love her in the performance. But I do struggle with that, because I think that while both of those characters being like the heart and soul of their films, I think that Elle Fanning's character was a really unique role. Like, it wasn't a niche that can be really filled or described. It's like a foil that isn't a villain, and kind of just like wrong person, wrong time moment, but not in a romantic way. And there's something just so tragic about that character that's just, I've never seen in a story before. That's just so, like, I just found her so devastating. I don't know that this is necessary, but I've been a big Elle Fanning fan for a long time, and I could see this being her moment. So weirdly, like, I wasn't even expecting to say this going in. I think my pick would be Elle Fanning. I was really struggling with her and Inga, but I think my pick would be Elle Fanning. My prediction is actually Tiana Taylor.
Me too.
Not to discredit her, because she's actually a really wonderful performer, but the Academy has a history of, and I was watching some think pieces and thoughts from like Black women in the film space about their feelings and frustrations around award season, and how Black women are often rewarded for these weird movie choices, and like not like in these very strange, like either white savior films or films that are like just not at all like what they could, like when you think of like Monsters Ball and 12 Years a Slave and these movies that Black women have been rewarded for, and like even something like
The Help,
Amelia Perez, like women of color often get nodded out of principle because people feel virtuous about the story, and not because it was an actual like well written or constructed role for a woman of color. And I think that One Battle After Another was this year's Amelia Perez, where Hollywood, better that obviously is a movie,
a bold
but
statement.
in terms of the idea that it swept
that
it swept the Hollywood imagination in like this way of wanting to feel virtuous and stick it to the man and avant-garde and like, we're not the bad guys, we're the good guys, like wanting to feel that way. And so I think that a lot of the love for it, and a lot of the love for her role in particular, has been blinded by that a little bit. I think that she has a lot of greatness in her and could do amazing things, but like for me, that role is not like worthy of her, of this. But I do think that like that is my prediction, because people are enjoying having her around also, which is great. But then my dark horse,
Chase Infinity was more entertaining as far as characters went, in my opinion, between the two of them, but that's just me.
Yes, between the two of them, I have feelings about that too.
Yeah.
My dark horse though, I unfortunately don't think that Wumi has been visible enough in this press tour and has been in the conversations enough. And like back when they were doing all the interviews and the initial press for the movie, it was really mainly Michael and Haley Steinfeld and like Woomi was nowhere to be seen. So I don't think that she really has a chance because she doesn't have
It's
name
not like
recognition and
she
she
was
wasn't around.
nowhere. It's not like she was nowhere. She was rarely seen.
She wasn't in any of these Hot Ones things or any of these puppy interviews or any of these cutesy nothing, none of that. Like she was not.
She was. She did the lie detector thingy with the not the Vanity Fair one. She did the Vogue thingy.
I know, but nobody gives a shit about Vogue. Like,
And
that's
she
not.
also did that BuzzFeed thingy where who's more likely to that pointy.
Wait,
Yes,
BuzzFeed
I
exists in 2026?
Yeah, exactly. So, like, that's not. I just don't think she's been around in the conversation enough, and I think there's been an overemphasis on other people, so I don't really think she has a shot. But I do think that my dark horse would be Inga because of people being. Not only because the character was such the heart of the film, but having like a truly new face that's not related to anybody,
Right.
that fit into this world so flawlessly and acts as a foil to all of us in this industry to be like, you know, I did this as a kid and I really like it's not a real life. Like the way that her character kind of puts a mirror to those of us in the industry in kind of a loving way, not in like a screw you, Hollywood is evil kind of a way, but in like a I'm glad I got to have a real life and create a family and have a career and not be in this crazy horse race. Like she kind of symbolizes what a lot of us romanticize, which is unreal normal life. So I do think that could have captured the Academy imagination in a really specific way. And so if that happened for enough individual people who were split on a lot of the other things, then that's why she could be my dark horse. So my dark horse would be Inga, my pick would be Elle, and my prediction is Tiana Taylor.
For me,
Center's biggest Achilles heel here, I think, and this is just across every category, is that it released in April, right? Like it is almost by far the oldest of any of the movies, so it's just fallen slightly out of the cultural consciousness, like some of these other ones that have come out in the last 2 months or so.
It did get a lot of re-releases. So
Granted. But I mean, that's just the nature of it.
When we get there, I actually think it has one bigger Achilles heel, but we'll get there.
Okay. We'll get there. For me, I think my pick is obviously going to be Tiana Taylor because, well, she did win the Golden Globes, which was really surprising. But yeah, I think Perfidia Beverly Hills is one of the most misunderstood Black characters that you get to see rarely on screen. And I think Tiana displayed that complexity really well. My prediction, however, I think my prediction is going to be Amy Madigan, because if you think about it, Aunt Gladys became more of a cultural phenomenon. I mean, you saw people dressing up as her, you saw people like doing the spell and everything. I literally saw a clip on my Instagram at a drag party and someone was dressed up as Aunt Gladys dancing to Lady Gaga's Abracadabra. And I mean,
as she should.
Sure, why not? My surprise would obviously have to be Woomi. I loved her as Annie. She was so grounded and she sort of represented that, you know, that Black love that we rarely get to see. Because I was reading an article about this. I think it came out in Vogue. And often when we see like Black couples, like purely Black couples, it's often with like a dark-skinned one with a sort of brownish, lighter tinted skin woman or man, whatever have you.
It's usually a woman. It's usually a lighter-skinned woman.
Right, you're right. You're right. But out here, you had a couple whose skin tint sort of matched, and it was something which was more realistic that we would see. And I feel like Annie, like Craig mentioned, was really the heart and soul of this film, and I was not exactly like bawling my eyes out, but I was weeping a little when she died. So.
less when she died, more when they
When she came
reunited.
back with
When
the
she
ballad.
came back, oh
That
yeah,
That
crushed
image is
me.
one of the strongest images of
That
the
was-
entire
that
film,
was
with her with the
that
baby's
was
breath
a
in her
really
hair.
good- oh
And
yeah, you're right. That is an incredible shot.
Mm.
What about you, Nicole?
So for me, honestly, my prediction is going to be Tiana. I think where in supporting, the boys cancel each other out, I think this is where One Bad After Another ends up shining in at least one of the acting categories. And that Golden Globe win, sometimes it's significant, sometimes it's not, depending on how the award circuit and everything goes. But for this really pushed so much momentum towards her and kind of shifted the narrative where, okay, well, Penn and Del Toro, they're nominated, that's enough. And this is where I feel like the acting category will shine for One Bad After Another. And quite frankly, I really enjoyed Tiana's performance. She's in the first, I believe it's 34 minutes of the film. And you are impacted by it. You do remember it. And that's something that sometimes, kind of reminds me back when Mahershala did Moonlight. And, he's in very little of the film, yet look what he was able to do and win with it. So sometimes there is that correlation where even though there isn't that much screen time in a very heavy film, such as One Bad After Another, which clocks in over 240, you still remember that impact of her. And they make sure to, close that book out, from beginning to end, to remind you of her as well. So slight spoiler alert. But, and really just give you that idea of that she is a part and interlaced in this film. So right now, I feel like the narrative is being pushed towards her. I think, again, we have a few awards right now. We'll see where the dice fall here. But in this case, this is where it feels like it's going. But my pick, though, would be Inga. I really enjoyed Sentimental. It very much is coded to a film that I would design myself, that I'm just like, I love seeing like her. And it wasn't even so much of her dialogue, it was her facial expressions particularly, and the way how sometimes you just convey something with your face and you don't need to say anything, and she was able to give you so much emotion, especially when she was acting alongside Renat. And that scene with her and both of them talking, and how they're flashing back to their childhood, and I'm just like floored every time. And just to see, she doesn't even need to say anything to her sister, and you just see the tears well up in her eyes, and you can feel all the emotion in that relationship within less than 30 seconds, which is incredible to see. And also to see how, different things, like from the trial, from the Holocaust, all those different aspects, again, we get little glimpses of it, and things that the Academy eats up very much when it comes to historical fusion in the film. So again, it really hits along those factors. If she wins BAFTA, this gives her a huge push, and I think this will be a nice, like momentum for her. And we've had supporting actresses in the past before where they just win BAFTA. She hasn't missed any other nominations for the most part, where it could push towards a win, and people like, oh, that's a huge surprise. But really, for example, let's say if Stellan did miss supporting, the Sentimental is more than likely to get an acting award. This would be it. This would be your makeup year. And as much as I adore Elle Fanning, she's been in this business for over 2 decades, the nominations, the win itself, and I'm so happy for her. I would love nothing more to be surprised for Elle to win. I would be jumping off a roof. I'd be so freaking happy. But I feel like Inga, to me, between the both of them, and again, Elle did such an amazing job, but to me, Inga's performance was the one that really anchored me towards the film, where Elle's performance really drew me into the film. And then my dark horse, though, that I would really love to see, and a lot of my friends are obsessed with as well, is Weapons for Amy Madigan. To see that Amy hasn't missed anything is incredible. To see that she defied every single standard of, because horror, really has made a huge resurgence, especially this year, to see how a good chunk of the nominations are horror or horror-esque, but to see how it's rewarded. There are cases where there are just sole nominees and they're able to win, especially when it comes to supporting categories, that it could really help her narrative. And again, she hasn't missed. I know the Golden Globe win was a little bit of a step back, but again, she didn't miss the nomination, so don't count her out. So again, that would be my dark horse for it.
I've been loving seeing her going around with Ed Harris, and how he's been supporting her. It's been very cute.
And she's been campaigning hard, very, very, very hard as well. And Wumi next week is actually doing a huge push here in New York for her role as well. So she's going to be doing a couple industry events.
Alice, you know what to do. You know what to do. Show up with your piano. We're gonna sing for Woomy.
Hey, just before we move on from the actress section, so Amy Madigan, of course, I need to see more stuff by her because I love her in Weapons. I also specifically loved her in, if you've seen The Hunt. She has like a kind of a small bit role in that, and it's one of the most memorable secondary characters in a movie I've ever seen. Hilarious.
That's been on my list for a long time.
It is way better than it should be. It is like, I don't know, it was like, weirdly enough, like game night, where you think you know what it's going to be, and it's way better than anything you could imagine that type of movie will be. Anyways, Elle Fanning, I'm so glad she's on the list. I wouldn't have her here for sentimental value.
Oh.
No.
You didn't see it!
No, I would have her on here for a different movie. Predator Badlands.
Predator Badlands?
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
She was an incredible actress in a supporting role in Predator's Badlands. And again, the movie doesn't work without her. It's a dual role. We got Michael B. Jordan doing a dual role here.
That's
we
true.
got like and they're it's dynamic. They're distinct. They were both enjoyable. Like she was not phoning it in at all. She was clearly having a great time with that movie. So I'd be more than happy to give it to her for that.
Yeah, I mean,
very good.
Elle Fanning has been such an amazing performer, and the amount of projects that she's taking up lately, I think she is doing an A24 series for Apple. I forget. Margot has money troubles. Is that what it's called?
Yes, it is.
Yeah,
Yes.
I feel like Elle Fanning might just be a better version of Timothée Chalamet.
How so?
Better version.
In what? In what way? What relation?
In that they're both actors.
I mean, considering the projects that she's doing, like, I mean, if you look at her in the Neon Demon, which I feel like is super underrated. Neon Demon, Predator Badlands, then even what else?
I think she's too much of a Nepo sibling to be technically in the same category with Timmy.
Well, Timothy is also a Nepo baby, so
but not a Nepo sibling, and he wasn't really a child actor. Like maybe he did like a little bit of like Law and Order and stuff, but like he wasn't the voice of the little sister in My Neighbor Totoro when he was 5 years old. Like Elle was the voice of the little sister in Totoro when she was 5 years old. Like,
well, I mean, I
know that you're on your haterade train for Timmy this year. You don't need to bring it into other people.
I'm very curious to see your thoughts on this after now. Just to see this.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Well, is that where we're moving to next?
I think we are. That's a really good segue to our next category. We've got Best Actor in a Leading Role. And by the way, if you actors are watching this, the speech limit is 30 seconds. You don't want to see Cillian Murphy get fucking bored on stage.
We get to run long. You don't.
Thank you, Greg.
It's always the best actor. It's always the man who
Oh
thinks
my
he's
gosh. Like, why?
No
Why?
offense, sir.
Yeah, so please adhere to the speech timing. We also need to go to sleep. We have things to do on Monday. All right, here we go. Timothée Chalamet for Mighty Supreme. Boo. Leonardo.
I'm very curious.
Let's
not
relax.
do that in the list.
Leonardo DiCaprio for One Battle After Another. Ethan Hawke for Blue Moon. Michael B. Jordan for Sinners, and Wagner Moura, The Secret Agent. Okay, I want to get it. I want to get it out there. Sorry, guys. Honestly, through this list, I would want anybody but Timothy to win. Anybody but Timothy.
Wow, what a shocker!
Going with the tradition that we are doing, pick prediction and dark horse. Prediction, unfortunately, is going to be Timothy. My pick would be either Michael B. Jordan for Sinners or Wagner Moura for The Secret Agent. Two both powerhouses of performance, especially like Michael B. Jordan doing like twice the work portraying twins and looking at the technology the creators have to do just to get those distinctions out there, and as well as like through the costume, through the writing, the way they say their dialogues, and the way like each personality comes through. And for Wagner, I don't know whether you guys seen The Secret Agent. If you have, please do. I feel like he carries such an emotional weight. And the secret agent, he actually produced this. It's such a timely. It feels more timely than One Battle for me, because it is set during like the 1960s and 1980s when Brazil was under a dictatorship, and I feel like Wagner Moura portraying this sort of professor who just wants to go home to his family and is constantly like under hiding and secrets and like just kept at the bay, almost like teetering to become really violent with someone, but at the same time like knowing that that's not the choice he can do, that's not the choice that he wants to do. I feel like Wagner Moura just has a really rare sense of emotionality that he brings through The Secret Agent, and plus he's really hot.
Okay, we see.
All right, I would like to go next because I have very, very opposing opinions to Preetha on this category. Although I think our predictions will be the same. I also predict Timmy. I don't necessarily like him the best out of this list, but I did really enjoy his performance, and the movie certainly would not have worked without him, like if we're using that at all as a metric. And I think that he really put his all into this, and I think that if we are going to give our flowers to actors who transform their lives and themselves and kind of reformulate as a person based on working their ass off on a role for years and years and years, and then we make fun of Timmy for being a little out there, I think it's kind of hypocritical, because I think that that's exactly what he did. He spent years and years like lovingly crafting this persona and diligently working on his real life ping pong skills for years during other projects. And was just so committed and dedicated to what's like a relatively lower scale indie film in the scope of his work and the scope of his reach in terms of like the amount of star power he has, the amount of money he can be making, and his focus like with Dune and and Wonka and all of these huge things that he's done, and his focus was on this little ping pong movie. I think it's actually really beautiful and brilliant, and I think that his affection for the craft and what he was trying to do is very clear, and I really respect the fuck out of his adamance that he wants to be great and that he feels that he will be great, because I do really relate to the idea as an artist of like the pressure to seem
greatness,
humble, pressure to seem humble while also pursuing greatness, and the fact that those feel so diametrically opposed. And like that you do just have to bet on yourself. And I just find it really inspiring. And honestly, young men these days don't have a lot of really good role models in terms of getting out there and trying to better themselves in a real way, other than like gym bros or people talking about getting their money up and like grind set stuff. And like he's like, his thing is that he wants to be like great at something that is like a craft and like art, and he's engaging very, very strongly and effectively with young men. And I think that if he plays his cards right, he could do a lot of good for the future of all these young boys who could easily go down an alt-right pipeline, and instead could be pivoted to like caring about the arts and like there's a difference between being an asshole and being like a deeply bad person doing bad things. And like I would so much rather people be like pretentious douchebags than like red-pilled like Tate fans. Like if that's where we can bring that energy, if we can bring it towards
I'll agree on that point. Cool. I'll agree on that point.
For a brief second, I thought you were advocating that more boys should like take Marty Mauser to be their role model.
No,
And-
they should not to be their role model.
Hell
And I
no.
was like, I don't know if I agree
No.
with this actually.
No, in terms of his pursuit of the craft and his using Marty Mauser as a vessel
sure.
to allow him to be more confident about his vocal pursuit of that and his dedication towards greatness, because he did have to get into that deeply unself-conscious mindset in order to play Marty Mauser. He had to become so unself-conscious about his own
Limitation.
belief in his own greatness. Like, in order to access that for Marty, he had to access that for himself, and it's clear that he did, given a lot of the speeches and things that he's made in recent time. And I think that kind of earned self-confidence is really, really important in an era where young men are, whether rightfully so or not, feeling very like disenfranchised and unmotivated. So like, I think that he has the potential to be a very good, and that's because of his spending the last 5 years dedicated towards crafting this Marty Mauser character. Now, all that is to say, it's not necessarily my pick. I wouldn't be mad if he won. I think that, sure, there would be a lot of people who would be, but I think he did earn it. But my pick would be Ethan Hawke for Blue Moon.
Yes, I was just about to say he was really my surprise.
It was very. So it was just so devastating and such a unique type of character to portray, and to have the real securities. Speaking of like not being insecure, you have to really dig deep to play a character as unself-conscious as Marty, but you also have to really dig deep to play a character as self-conscious as Larry.
Lorenz Hart.
Yeah, Larry Hart.
Yeah.
He is so deeply self-conscious and embarrassed and really struggling and existing at a time when like subcultures didn't really exist in the same way. So there really wasn't a way, if you couldn't make it work in the mainstream, and kind of this capturing of a moment in time that wouldn't have worked without him.
Yeah, I feel like his partnership with Richard Linklater always brings out like some of the best work that Ethan Hawke has ever
dialogue.
done.
I know a lot of people thought that it was very talky and that it was a very talky role, but his character is a lyricist. I would hope that he would be talky. His whole life
he has been a composer.
About crafting words. No, he's not a composer. He's a lyricist.
Yeah, you're right.
That's the whole point, is that Rogers is the composer and he's the lyricist. He's just the words guy. And he wrote Blue Moon, amongst other things. And so he this like relationship with his muse and his sexuality and his addiction, I just found it to be very very beautiful. And for my dark horse, I think my dark horse would be either him or Wagner Moura. I know that Brazil and Brazilian work tends to get a really good big push around this time of year because, no offense to Brazilians, love to y'all, but they go absolutely nutty over whatever the Brazilian thing is that year. And are a very, very powerful block in terms of like fan culture and like internet attention culture. So anytime there's any comment section about anything related to anything
Brazil
that Wagner Moura might be attached to, all of the comments are Brazilian flags and Wagner Moura, regardless of what any of the other things are, and whether or not they've seen any of the other performances has nothing to do with it. They just ride for their boy. Respect. And before I pass the torch, I want to say that I actually think that like Leo was only okay for me. It was like not even in my top 5 of Leo performances. And Michael B. Jordan, as much as I really like him as an actor in general and as a guy, I actually think he was the weakest link of the film. I very frequently was not sure which one of them I was looking at, even though they were fucking color coded. Like sometimes I was like, oh, maybe one of them is the one with the hat, and then the other one would wear a hat. Oh, one of them is the one that's more serious, and then the other one would be more serious. They stood the same. They talked almost the same. Like one of them smiled slightly more than the other, and then towards the end there was finally a little bit of differentiation. But in the beginning, it just felt like this gimmicky thing where they were like, oh, look, we have Michael B. Jordan playing two people, and that like took over the story when it was really supposed to be about like Sammy and Miles Catton's character. And I just found it so unbelievably, I loved the movie. I've seen it twice. I'm going to see it again, but I found it so distracting to the core of the movie, which was supposed to be about blues and culture and whitewashing of culture and assimilation and culture vultures and relationships between like it was about so much else, and I feel like that made it this goofy thing. Like if they had just had two different guys, or if they just hadn't had twin elements at all,
interestingly,
it was so not effective.
Interestingly, the role was originally written for Michael B. Jordan as Smoke and Chadwick Boseman as Stack.
They should have just found another guy.
They did. They were after Chadwick, they were gonna go for Jonathan Majors.
Oh no!
But then it turns out that he's an evil rapist. So, but then they should have found somebody else. There's not a shortage of incredible, talented Black men actors. Like find another one. I just think it was so stiff. And like, if Lindsay Lohan can do it at age 12, where I genuinely think they're different people, and where the president of Disney at the time thought that they were two different little girls and was like, where's your sister at the premiere, then Michael B. Jordan should be like, I just think that it does a disservice to us all to not hold him to the same standards as everyone else. And so many people that I spoke to struggled with a lot of times throughout the movie which one was which. And even them next to each other half the time, it felt, I don't know. It just like was the only thing about the movie that didn't really work for me. But I did love him, and I think the only thing that worked about his performance was his distinct relationships with the two distinct spouses. That was the only time they seemed like different people to me. But in every other scenario, like I think that Haley really brought out the one side and Woomy really brought out the other side. But in every other situation, they were just like the same guy, but in like a different font. And I was just like, it was certainly not Elle Fanning's Predator Badlands vibe.
That's what I'm saying.
There's so many great performances like that where they do seem like different guys, where every time they were on screen together, I was just so distracted by the fact that like, okay, this is like a split screen and they're doing this thing. Like it was just so distractingly corny, and it just did not. It took away from the time period element because I kept thinking about the fact that it was Michael B. Jordan. Like it was just, I know it's a very, very controversial opinion. When I said I had a controversial opinion, that's like one of the biggest ones, but I just think he was the weakest link of that film. But he's very sexy and hot, and he's a very talented actor, and I would. But just he did not, and there were moments where he was very compelling in the film, but the idea that what was so strong about it was that he played the twins well, I just don't think he did.
I'll agree to disagree.
They just were not different enough for me at all.
I'll keep mum.
I think I've got a few here that it's kind of stuck between. But I mean, it's a good list this year. It's not an easy decision, which is a nice thing to be able to say. I will give the Oscars that at least. Like it's better when there's not just one clear runaway. And sometimes that's not their fault that they gave a great performance, sure. But, you know, I feel like sometimes you can kind of stack the deck a little better, and this is a pretty good turnout. So I think what should I want to start with? I'll pick the one I really enjoyed. I actually did really enjoy Michael B. Jordan and Sinners. I thought the dynamic really worked. I know. I thought that there was I think there was enough moments where I fully was like, okay, the characters felt distinct enough that it didn't blend too much. I get what you mean though. Like it felt more like there was definitely a gimmicky element to it that could have probably been undermined a little bit more. So for that sake alone, I don't know. It's a really, really tough one to make the call on. Okay. Personally, though, I would pick Timothée Chalamet, I think. Out of this list, I really think he did a great job in Marty Supreme. I think that movie doesn't
Wait, is
work.
that your pick or your prediction?
Sorry,
you said pick
pick.
for Michael.
I know, I changed my mind.
Okay.
I think I'm picking Timothée Chalamet.
Did I talk you out of it? Oh my god.
No, I'm just considering it. I think I might have to double stack pick and prediction on Timothy, though. I don't need to spread out my chips here, you know. Timothée Chalamet's like, this is going to go down easily as probably one of his most iconic or significant roles for a long time. And I mean, there's personal favorites, right? People love Bones and All. People love Call Me by Your Name. People love Dune. These are all very like iconic roles that he's played in different ways. But I don't think people are going to say that like Timothée Chalamet's defining role in his early career was Wonka, right? Like I think as good as that movie was, right? There's something about this like singularly unique character that he's been able to craft in Marty Supreme that I was really impressed by, and impressed by how you can get people to root for a character while also not really liking them in the same way. And that's the Safdies for you, man. That's Josh specifically, who apparently is the one that has the sauce, unfortunately. But we'll have to see. No, Benny's done good stuff. I love The Curse. I love his work with Nathan Fielder and Emma Stone, and I hope that they keep doing stuff together in the future.
And he's a great actor.
Yeah, no, seriously, he is very versatile in a way that Josh isn't necessarily. But Josh is really good at one thing, and that's creating a very stressful environment that just grabs you and holds you in it for about as long as whatever the movie needs. it every time I think it gets tiring, but every time I think it's gonna get like exhausting and boring, it doesn't. It's very hard to maintain that tone and that energy for so long, but he does it very effectively. So pick and prediction then. I'm gonna go to Timothée Chalamet. Dark Horse, I don't know if there's enough talk about Ethan Hawke for him to really, really be in the running to get it. However, I think Dark Horse, like, I don't think people would be shocked if they gave it to Ethan Hawke. And I think that
I don't think people would be upset either.
No, of course not. I think people have really wanted to see Ethan Hawke, especially because he's kind of come back recently, these past few years, doing a lot of work again. Not only Black Phone, but the I'm mixing him up with Kevin Bacon in Maxine, and not that that's like a great performance per se, but no, he's come back in a different way in this new era of his acting career, if we can even call it that. And so I think just as a collective, people would like to see him acknowledged for still being in the game and still like doing new things as an actor and kind of exploring territory that he hasn't yet, which is shocking. The fact that he's been in the game for as long as he has and still has so many more places to go to. So yeah, that's mine. Pick prediction, both go to Timmy, and Dark Horse goes to Ethan.
For me, I mean, it's along the same lines. For me, Timothy, he's my prediction. I think everything's just going in the right way for him right now. I'm very curious to see if he can get the actor award and do 2 years in a row. I'm going to be very impressed. I think there's a shot, but Timmy, I don't want to spend too much time on Timmy because honestly, my pick would be Ethan. Really enjoyed him this year. Really did. He had 85% of screen time in that film. Which is incredible because then the second person who's built on that is Margaret Qualley. Yeah, and then Margaret Qualley is 23%. So that alone, and that is incredible.
I loved his scene with Margaret Qualley where he actually just lets his heart out, and
you got them in the coat
closet.
So vulnerable. It's just it's incredible to see, and I honestly I wouldn't be surprised if that was the upset of the night in a lot of sense, because he has the good combination of having this in screenplay, which gives a little bit more of a push for him. If it was just a sole actor nominee, in this case, it's a little tougher, and that would be more of a dark horse category. But here, at least screenplay is involved, so it does give a little bit more of a oomph, at least.
You're right.
But
Screenplay is nominated.
yeah. So
Plus, there could be some like old Hollywood nerd benefit of it being about Rodgers and Hart versus Rodgers and Hammerstein, and like that kind of historical shift of the culture from of like the founding of like blockbuster musicals becoming a thing because of Rodgers leaving Hart. Like, there's definitely like a Hollywood nerd factor thing that could impact like how people liked Mank for that reason, because people were nerding out over that story that was very little told.
This is the year of the pseudo biopic. Like across all the actors' roles, they're all like, Marty Mauser was kind of a real guy, but of course we're not saying this is actually a biopic about it. Ethan Hawke is playing, of course, a very dramatized version of Hart. Leo DiCaprio is representative of this kind of guy that would have been a revolutionary in like the late 70s, early 80s kind of thing. Like it's interesting to see where all these characters are coming from, because they're very clearly inspired by true people.
Right.
Yeah, it's true, and there's nothing more of Hollywood wanting to celebrate Hollywood. They love that, and Ethan Hawke fits the bill this year with at least what's on this list. And again, I would love to see him really just like, finally be celebrated on that note. And then for my dark horse, it would be Wagner Moura. Never ever underestimate Brazil. I mean, it's just like I've never seen, after Fernanda Torres, and I'm still here, I've never seen just such a push and such a wave turn. And Wagner Moura again,
nutty about that.
Oh my god, the Golden Globe win. I mean, I'm not surprised. That was where Michael had a shot. If Michael would have won, this would be a different conversation. But because of Wagner getting it, it kind of pushed Michael out. For Michael, the win is the nom, which I'm again not surprised, and this is huge for him. And for Leo, it's just adding on to his shelf of just getting nominated because, quite frankly, I mean, it's Leo. And I like Leo in One Bad After Another, but I had someone else in mind for that slot, so I was very mad when I knew he was going to get in, but I was like, dang it, I wanted someone else in there, and we'll talk about that in a bit, but I was really mad. I was like, here's another performance I preferred this year, much stronger than his. But in this case here, so Timmy would be my prediction, my pick would be Ethan, and my dark horse would be Wagner.
That's interesting. I feel like all of the acting categories this year are generally becoming more and more competitive. It's sort of like a heated rivalry going on. Speaking of, tuna melt, anyone? So I feel like it's gonna be interesting to see who wins, and there's gonna be a lot of audible sighs coming out from the Metrograph and wherever you're having your watch parties. So that's gonna be interesting to see.
There's a lot of fan favorites, and it's not just one fan favorite in basically any of these categories, which is nice to see, because like it would be so easy for me to just say like, Leo, Tim is the one that's getting it, right? Like, and the fact that it's split as much as it is across a lot of these categories is what's making it very interesting.
And speaking of interesting, let's move on to our final acting category. Actress in a leading role. We've got Jessie Buckley for Hamnet, Rose Byrne for If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You, Kate Hudson for Song Sung Blue, Renata Reinsva for Sentimental Value, and Emma Stone for Bugonia. All right. Emma Stone, I feel like...
3.
No.
Frances McDormand.
No. Mind you, I'll say this. Had she been nominated for Kinds of Kindness instead of Bugonia, maybe I would. I mean, I know Kinds of Kindness was released last year, but I would have still preferred Emma to get the win for Kinds of Kindness and not Begonia. Because no shade to her performance in Begonia. She was amazing and she was like very unpredictable, especially with the spoiler alert. She is an alien. Haha. But
I still haven't watched it. Oh. Why would you say that? It's like one of the few movies I haven't watched yet. So wow.
Just
Okay. Yeah.
you don't know that, and she's also lying.
That might be yikes. All right.
Just watch Save the Green Planet.
That's a bummer.
It's a different movie.
Yeah, Save the Green Planet is good. But I'm gonna give my pick to. I mean, my prediction is, of course, Jessie Buckley. I feel like she's on the right trajectory to win, and she was fucking devastating in Hamnet. I finally got around to seeing it, and I was like, not get a break. And I'm actually really happy that Jessie's now getting all of this attention. I wish she had got it for The Lost Daughter, though. I liked her better in The Lost Daughter than in Hamnet. Because I feel like, maybe it's just my affinity towards like very gray, complex characters. But I feel like Jessie Buckley was like an inch better in The Lost Daughter than in Hamnet. But I'm happy for her getting it for Hamnet too. Better late than never. My pick would be Rose Byrne for If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You. It came out yesterday on HBO. I watched it and
it is finally on HBO. Okay.
It's on HBO right now. And I watched it and I was actually blown away. Because frankly speaking, I did not know Rose Byrne that well until I watched If I Had Legs. So I can see her game. My surprise would be Renata or even Kate Hudson. Renata, I feel like really was amazing in Sentimental Value. I mean, the way she just embodies that burden of the daughter who was abandoned by the father, and it was just so amazing to see like the complex emotions that she's going through with that. Kate, however, I'm honestly surprised that she even got in. I highly doubt people saw Song Sung Blue until like I don't know. Until she got like nominated. I mean, I have mixed feelings about Kate Hudson on this list.
Yeah. She's not who I would have put in that nomination slot. We'll get there.
We'll get there.
But this is one of the categories that I've seen some of like the least percentage of nominees, but I still think I can give a pretty good opinion. My prediction is Jessie Buckley. Mm-hmm. I did love her to death in it, and I really did love Hamnet. I liked it the second time more than the first time. But, and I mean, I'm sure a lot of people disagree with me. There were times where I thought that she and the movie were just doing a little too much and weren't giving the audience moment to actually feel the feelings ourselves, rather than just like showing us exactly what everything is feeling and what we're supposed to be feeling. Like, I feel like it was almost a little bit too like, this is very sad. You should be really sad right now. Like, it wasn't necessarily giving us like space to decide to be sad. And I think as someone who has experienced a lot of real life grief, I was definitely like I know a lot of people who really enjoy things that make them cry and like would watch things like This Is Us for fun. I feel like but then there are those of us who've had a lot of real life grief and drama and trauma and don't necessarily like get a kick out of like being sad on purpose.
Right.
And so I feel like it could have given me some more. It wasn't really written for people with grief to fill in space for their own grief. It was just giving you the movies. And I feel like a great film or a great story about sadness gives you an opportunity to see your own feelings in what's happening. And because like any movie that you love is really more about you than about the movie in a lot of ways. Like if something that really, really touches you deep down, it's because you saw something that resonated with you. And I don't think that the movie gives, for a movie that's about such universal feelings and ideas and experiences, it just doesn't give a lot of breathing space. And I think that a part of that is due to Jessie Buckley being such a larger than life intense character. Like it's her who's not really giving us the space to have those feelings, but her performance was still outstanding and far and away one of the best of the year. I think, and again, my picks wouldn't have necessarily been on this list, but my pick would either be her or Renata. Although I think that Renata's moment was worst person in the world,
Right.
And I think that until if she won for this, it would really more be winning for that. And I think she needs something that's a bigger departure to earn her next win. Like, I don't think that she's going to win, but like, I think she was amazing in that movie was amazing. And her collaboration with Joachim Trier is amazing. But my surprise would be Rose Byrne. Because I do think that people love seeing a comic actress do a surprise, weird, dramatic role. And everyone I've heard from who's seen it loved it and thought she was amazing. And it was like the most stressful, miserable movie ever. And I think that Kate Hudson's Oscars campaign has been a little bit like eye-rolly for people. Because I just have been seeing so many, like I'm on a lot of mailing lists for industry stuff. And like there've been several ads in the dailies for like, for your consideration, Kate Hudson. And I know that if I was voting this year and I was getting constant ads in
You
my
would make it a point not to vote.
I'd be like,
why?
ew, like what? And so that, especially since she is such a, not even a Nepo baby, like a third generation, like heavyweight. So if she can't earn it on her own without weird ads, then like it's not a serious contender. I don't think.
Okay, I think I can narrow mine down pretty well in this category too, because like, just because we were talking about it a second ago, Renate Rensiv would be incredible, I think, if she got it this year. But again, like you were saying, probably would be retroactively recognition for worst person in the world. They're going to keep doing great work together, so I have no fear that we're going to see her in more great movies in the future. So, I mean, if it's not this year, it's not this year. That's what it is. I wonder if this is accurate to say. She's like Joachim Trier's muse in the way that Emma Stone apparently is Yorgos Lanthimos.
Has become Yorgos.
Yeah, right? Like in every project that he's doing, it's kind of like, and hey man, she's got range. As much as it's kind of like she's up for it, as much as it is like Emma's up for it again, you will never get me going like, oh wow, that was a bad performance from her. Like it was, again, liked her in Begonia. Was it her best? The range that she has and the fact that one director can pull that range out of her is impressive. I'm going to give him that. Like fully shocked, and I want to see even more from her in the future, of course, or their collaboration, I should say. So I think that kind of brings it down to my pick personally would be between Rose and Jessie. And I think I have to give it to Rose. I think it was like the best female lead performance of a movie this year. Again, it's a movie that completely operates because of her and surrounds her. It was like a character study. So we really, really get to know her close through If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You. So I think if I was picking someone personally, if I was on the Academy, I'd give it to her. Prediction is harder to say because I could also just double down again and predict Rose, but I'm going to predict Jessie just because I think she's been around for a little bit in some serious consideration before. Like I'm thinking of Ending Things was up for a few nominations a handful of years ago, which I thought she was, of course, the best part of that, which is an interesting little part of the Venn diagram that lines up there, of course, being Jesse Plemons, who we'll get to Snubs. We'll talk about it later. We'll get there. But I think I would predict Jessie Buckley because she's just been doing really cool, unique, original stories again and again over these past few years. She's consistently the best parts of them. As much as I did not enjoy or was not enjoy, as much as I was not impressed by Men, for example, I think she was still the best part of that movie. And this is consistently the case again across basically every project she's involved with. Mm-hmm. So I'd pick Rose, I'd predict Jessie, and then Dark Horse is kind of where we can get a little quirky with it. I think Dark Horse is going to be Renee. I think if they're going to be doing this kind of retroactive award for a previous performance and they give it to Renee, that's like quintessential Dark Horse activity right there. Otherwise, I think they'll probably just wait another year or two, continue to see what work they put out together, and then probably give it to her down the line for one of those. So that's where I'm sitting at. Pick Rose, predict Jessie, and Dark Horse Renee.
Yeah, for me, I mean, my prediction and my pick are the same for this one, which is Jessie Buckley. I think she is more than poised to hopefully take it. Her performance is very strong. Again, and she's had a very strong for your consideration, but not overwhelming. Right. And her name is being brought up even without just random conversations for different movies. Like, for example, like The Rip, for example, and Matt Damon's on the podcast, and he's like, oh, yeah, Jessie Buckley's performance is amazing, just, like, randomly popped up. Or, like,
people are, like, shouting her out
all over the place. It's crazy. And I really enjoyed her performance. I know some people are not the biggest fans because they either feel like it was overacted or too sad, or they feel like it marks all the check boxes of, okay, it's a Shakespeare adjacent movie, so we're gonna celebrate an old classic.
It sort of addresses the check marks of your typical Best Actress winner. How much snot crying can you do?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like the typical. It's a Viola Davis and Fences, basically.
I was gonna say that.
It's a movie about acting.
Yeah. But for me, Jessie Buckley, I really was impressed with what she did. I feel like it kind of aligns. And then Dark Horse, honestly, this is where I kind of land in a three-way Dark Horse. But if I had a personal pick, I would love Renate to get it. I think she is amazing. But this kind of feels like Delroy Lindo, where it's like justice for Defy Bloods, justice for Worst Person in the World, because Renate was amazing in that, but missed out. And I'm glad she's in for Sentimental. Again, I think Sentimental is already going to check off either in supporting actress or in supporting actor, either or. So the real dark horse for me is Emma Stone. I enjoyed her performance in Begonia. I think she is great in Begonia. She's not my personal pick, but we're also in a world where she just beat out Meryl Streep's record. Potentially might match Frances McDormand. And the Academy and Hollywood love her. Like, it's to a point where it's like she hasn't missed anywhere. And I'm so happy Rose Byrne got in. I think, and in a fair world, she would be more competitive. But the nomination's the win already. And in Kate Hudson, again, very much this nomination fits the old guard of, your typical, story of tragedy coming in, kind of filling in that niche here. And I'm glad she's in. I mean, I'm happy that she's able to get in. I have a list of other performances I would have put over hers.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I go, okay, well, Almost Famous, I guess round 2 in that kind of sense. But at the same time, it's like I'm not one to argue because I also got all my other girls in that I'm like, I'm happy Jesse's in, I'm happy Renat's in, I'm happy Rose is in. I'm not surprised Emma's in, but again, I'm happy to see her in. So it's like, okay, it's picked the less of two evils here. So it's like, okay, Kate's in. But again, I would love to see a world where Renat would win. But again, I feel like that's coming down the line. And I like that comparison you guys did with Yorgos and Emma with Joachim and Renat. It didn't hit me, and I'm like, that is a perfect comparison. I'm like, well, there you go. Next project, third time's the charm. She'll get it. So that would be a great,
Look, when Emma got it a second time in 2024, after 2017, that already in a lot of people's minds, I think, was seen as like, wow, that was recent, right? And now 2 years later, if she gets it again, wow, that's recent. I
wouldn't be surprised though.
I wouldn't be surprised.
There is a world this could happen. There's a world that this could happen.
And
I
just wonder if the Academy would do it.
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing. I feel like they feel obligated at this. Like, it would. I feel like it would actually reflect poorly on them to do it this rapidly in succession. You know?
Yeah.
But we also love a woman who shaves her head for a role, famous.
That's
Oh, we
true.
do.
So-
We do.
That's true.
And the campaigning they did for that, and to have barbers at the actual theater.
Yeah, that
and what
was.
shave you
That was gaggy.
just
That was
a level
gaggy.
of extra. I
That's
loved
part
it.
of why I didn't see it. I was bummed out I didn't get to go to one of those screenings.
And
You
shave
didn't
your
want to
head?
shave your head. Yeah, no,
Oh,
it was
the
great.
gimmick.
No.
Yeah,
I would've
but
rocked
no,
the cap.
Yorgos is going to be very in demand. If Emma gets it, Yorgos is going to be like, please team me up. Like, any actress.
Also,
will work.
this is not Oscar bait at all, and it's never going to get awarded for anything. But the big Jessie Buckley performance I'm so excited for is The Bride, which I think is going to be
yeah.
I'm so excited for it. I thought
Almost here.
and initially when I was
hyped.
seeing stuff about it, I was like, this is going to be a kind of like
Well, the
cringe-
first trailer I thought
like,
sucked, but the
I was
recent
like, this is
trailers
going to
have
be a
been
kind
good.
of like cringy, like the Joker,
Yeah.
Folia de, like kind of dynamic thing, and it's like it's
Okay.
Christian
No,
Bale.
no
and it's this, and,
shade against Joker Folia to allow.
no, I'm just saying. Like, I felt like it was going to be like that dynamic. Is like, oh, it's Frankenstein, but it's the Joker and Harlequin, and it's like, okay, a little bit of like Cruella in
Yeah.
there. But that I've gotten so much more confidence with it, especially with that latest trailer, where I'm like, this just looks like it's going to
that
be
latest
so
trailer was
fun.
So much fun. I mean,
No, it is.
we all hail Maggie Gyllenhaal and Jessie Buckley to get out a good performance out of her. I feel like Maggie and Jessie, because Maggie, The Lost Daughter was actually her first film, and she paired up with Jessie for that. Super underrated. I can't rave about that film enough. That film was just that was something different, and it sort of explores the dichotomy of being a mother so beautifully, and I'd highly like it's up there in those films. It's
Well,
up there for me.
speaking of directors, you want to pivot into?
Or are we gonna do the snubs section in between?
I thought was
You
just
know
I was
what?
between directors.
You know
and-
what? Let's do the snubs.
Okay.
Let's let it out. We are venting. We are in a very fiery space now. So let's just let it out. And I'm gonna get it out there. Testament of Anne Lee.
Ugh.
That's it.
Where was it?
Where?
Where was it? Where was
Mhm.
Mona? Where was Amanda Seyfried?
Where was Amanda?
Yeah, like what? I feel like
Amanda. Why was Kate Hudson there and not Amanda Seyfried?
Exactly.
Thank you.
Exactly. Like
Costumes.
Searchlight really dropped
Anything.
the ball on this film. Because think
Set
about
design.
it. Think about it. If you look at the timeline of Testament of Anne Lee, it was getting so much buzz in the festival circuit. It was getting Cannes buzz, Venice buzz, and Berlinale. Berlin.
Berlinale.
And
I think it
then-
didn't help that it came out the same weekend as Marty Supreme.
No, it came out. Yeah, I mean, maybe that didn't help, but still, I feel like Searchlight promoted this film really poorly. And had they not spent that money on fucking Ella McKay
Oh no, right.
Oh God.
and put it on The Testament of Envy, because like that film, I went in with like very little expectations, because I mean I was a little skeptical about how this film was gonna go, given that the Brutalist was good, and I was like, okay, we've got Mona at the helm of affairs now. Let's see how it goes. And that film really, like, it blew me away. Like, I've been listening to their soundtrack all day and trying to get their choreography. Like, and I feel like the way they celebrated that feeling of movement, which the Shakers embodied so much, that was something which was so beautifully done. Where is Daniel Bloomberg? Where is Mona Fastfall? Where is Amanda Seyfried? Like,
It was heavy.
I mean, it's so hard. I'm gonna put in the meme in there. It's so hard to go from like 13 nominations or 14 nominations for The Brutalist to nada. Like, why?
Like, God forbid we reward women, female-led, female-directed and female-led stories. Yeah, that was definitely a tough one for me.
Yeah.
I think not exactly a snub, but a nomination I would have liked to see, which I feel like in any other year that was less competitive, we could have seen this. Kirsten Dunst for Roofman.
Interesting.
I really liked her in that movie and in that role, and she is a big part of, for me, what elevated that movie from like a goofy caper to like a more serious, grounded, interesting, sweet story, and like a more serious, elevated film. Like that could have been done in a very different way, and that could have been like a silly Channing Tatum caper, but instead it grounded it so much more in this based on a true story world, and made the relationship so devastating, and the fact that he was lying for so long so devastating, and like his affection for her, like it was so, talk about like someone being supporting but like being the heart of the story. Like for me, like she really did something special with that role. And I think that, I mean, that movie just in general got pretty overlooked because I think people didn't know what to make of it. But I thought it was really lovely. Now, I also want to speak to some snubs that I actually don't think are snubs, and this, which I think will be very controversial. I don't think Wicked Part 2 was snubbed. I'm saying this as a huge Wicked fan, as a huge fan of those ladies. Wicked was the first Broadway show I ever saw when I was 11 years old. I absolutely adored the first movie, and I actually really liked a lot about the second movie. But the second movie was just far and away not as good as the first. And that is a lot less forgivable considering that they made them at the same time. And yes,
Wicked 4 did.
Yeah. My bad. And I feel like one of the weaker elements of the second act of Wicked is the fact that it has less strong music. And so if the two new songs that they had added had been better, maybe that would have helped it overall. But Girl in the Bubble and No Place Like Home both were kind of flops. And they're not, they just don't hold up to the original music of Wicked at all. Like,
I liked it.
Just because, but like liking it and it being worthy of best of something is not the same. That's kind of my point about the idea of snubs, is that like something being enjoyable and good doesn't mean that it deserves an Oscar. And that's also how I feel about their performances. I think Cynthia especially, she's an incredible actress. No, but I was about to say the opposite of what you think I'm about to say. She's a great actress, but I actually don't think that she was that good of an Alphabet as a character. She has a great voice and she sings amazingly. When you see her other actual acting roles, like Harriet, like she is able to have really intense, grounded, complicated feelings and performances. And to me, she felt if you really look at it, she is very wooden as Elphaba. And
Big underrated
that
one from her. Bad Times at the El Royale. She's this fascinating, like,
You're
complex character. I mean, everyone in that is
right.
great, but
You're
like,
right.
I've really
like
seen her. At her, like,
she
top
has
of the
more
game.
to it. Like she has so much to her, and I feel like people were so focused on her being this virtuosic singer that nobody thought to direct her or anything. Like she was just not. And then you have Ariana creating this much more complex and interesting version of Glinda.
Glinda, you're right.
And then Elphaba is just kind of this like serious witch who sings beautifully. Like that's not who Elphaba is. Elphaba is supposed to be kind of a brat in the beginning. Like the whole point is not just that she's like a misunderstood person who was like not treated well. Like
She's
hurt
internalized
people.
Mhm.
Like she's internalized it and become like a bitter, angry, shitty person. Like that's the point, is that they're both like immature brats, and then they grow to like lean on each other and like learn from each other and grow. And like, and I feel like the Wicked, and especially Wicked Part 2, made it more look like Glinda was this like annoying, sad little girl who became a person because of Elphaba, when it really was supposed to be that they both grew
They both grew
together.
Mm.
Yeah.
It didn't feel like it just so much more read like Glinda's growth story, because Elphaba didn't grow at all, because she was kind of weirdly austere and serious and grounded as a college student, and then was the exact same in the second movie. So like I actually don't think it was a snub to not reward that, because she's done better work. But I mean, Ariana, I would have liked to see her in Best Supporting, but like I also think the supporting category is really competitive this year, and the first one was much stronger. Like the second one just wasn't as strong. And Wicked as a musical is amazing, but if you divide it in half, the second half doesn't hold up as much, and so they didn't compensate for that enough.
But you know what? Did get snubbed?
What?
What's that?
Wake Up Dead Man. That's
Out of here.
Yeah, it was fun.
Agree to disagree.
Ryan Johnson should have at least gotten a writer nod, and Nathan Johnson should have gotten a nod for Best Original Score for that film, because and Josh fucking O'Connor.
I thought you were about to say Josh Brolin, and I was actually kind of
Josh Brolin.
I was like, be
Here's
serious,
the thing.
guys.
There's a number of snubs.
Maybe Josh Brolin for Weapons, though.
Sorry, Baby.
That's what I was going with, actually.
Sorry, Baby. Right.
I was gonna get.
We're gonna
to
give
that.
Sorry Baby a moment. We're gonna give Sorry Baby a moment. But I still want to talk about Wake Up Dead Man, because I mean, throughout the Knives Out franchise, we've all seen that one scene where the movie just completely switches. And for me, that in Wake Up Dead Man, that scene was when Josh O'Connor's character, Father Judd, is actually talking to Louise. The way it sort of transitions from being this very lighthearted, comedic scene, and just like gradually goes into like something about like having empathy and compassion. For me, that was the switch. And that scene alone was like, yes, give me more of that. But speaking of those kind of scenes, I want to talk about Sorry Baby as well. Sorry Baby was like, why? How dare you? Like, I mean, that was one hell of a film.
That was amazing.
With Naomi Ackie in it too. Like she's
Yes,
in
Naomi
really
Ackie
cool.
is
Oh my god,
right.
she was in a bunch of really neat stuff this year as well. Like I mean, Mickey 17. Like she was just in Blink Twice. Did she get noms for Blink Twice or
No.
no?
Yeah, she's been in some interesting stuff recently.
Yeah. I mean, and she was in End of the Fucking World too. Like
Oh,
at least in
right.
second or third season. Like she was great.
Oh my gosh, she was so good at End of the Fucking
Oh my
World. I
god,
totally
she was
forgot about
great.
that.
I know, right? It was like an earlier role for her, but it was so well done. Okay, I can literally condense most of my snubs specifically too, and it's just it makes me sound like a total fanboy, but it's kind of true.
Go
like
ahead.
most of the cast of Weapons.
Yes.
I'm not even joking. Like Julia Gardner, phenomenal, easily one of the best leading performances I've seen this year. Josh Brolin in Weapons, again, incredible supporting character. Really neat how it was structured. But even more than him, Austin Abrams. Austin
Oh, yeah.
Abrams
Austin Abrams.
not
Austin
getting
Abrams.
recognized for anything. Even you could make an argument for Alden Ehrenreich, kind of, but like Austin Abrams, Josh Brolin,
So
Julia
Austin
Gardner.
Abrams is he the homeless?
Kid.
Yes,
The
he's the
kid,
kid.
yeah.
Yeah.
Even the kid.
Phenomenal.
The guy who plays
Um,
Alex.
Dude,
In a
like,
similar vein, the lead character of Urchin, the actor who played the main guy in Urchin, I think he was also incredible in a very similar
Right.
vein to the meth head kid in Weapons.
Yeah. Well, it's the
and-
fact that it was this great collection of individually amazing performances, right? Like everyone was so, I don't know, confident and well realized. And the fact that it's like they kind of picked one, which was, again, love Amy Madigan, but they picked out kind of like the funny meme one that everyone knows about a little bit. And then there's
You're
some like
right.
really well done, serious performances in this as well. And Gladys switches it up. She's not always quirky. There's some haunting scenes with that lady, but like, yeah, I don't know. I think there was so much
This-
more gold in this.
This year has, I mean, I feel like this year horror really stepped it up from like last year, even with like films like the Substance and everything. This year, and more than horror, I feel like this year was the year of kid actors. Miles Keaton,
Oh my God, you're so right. I completely
even
forgot.
Kobe
Carrie
Duke.
Fisher.
Alfie
Kobe.
Williams for 28 Years Later. That
Yeah.
film, and even Bring Her Back. I don't know how many of you guys have seen Bring Her Back.
Yeah.
That was the one film that made me so uncomfortably sick.
Oh, the kids were great in that. I can never watch it again, but the kids were great.
Babe, it's in those category of films that just are so good you cannot watch it again. And speaking of Bring Her Back, Sally fucking Hawkins.
Yeah.
Where was she?
Yeah.
Like-
I mean, she's up there. For Bring Her Back, I don't know if that's her best work that she's ever done. Like,
Nah, man.
I was more frustrated
Sally-
with her
Sally
character than like
Hawkins.
impressed by how like
Sally
freaky she was. But she was good. It was a very fresh take on that kind of like how unstable is this person is the question you continuously ask throughout that movie, and you keep getting proved wrong that actually no, it's worse than that.
Yeah, Sally Hawkins. I want to give a moment to 28 Years Later too, because
Yep.
not only was that-
Cinematography? Where was it for cinematography?
where was it for cinematography? Where was it for the fucking? Even the screenplay was so good. Alex Garland and Danny fucking Boyle. And where is Young Brothers? Where is Young Brothers for their original soundtrack? Mind you, that entire soundtrack, like even the dance, freaking like peppy songs, that's all original. Like
Actually, I didn't know that.
where
That was
where
news
is
to
it?
me. That's an extra shame that wasn't nominated for original score, because actually I did not realize that was all original music. I really love
That was all original music, and even the way they sort of reinterpreted Boots and reintegrated it in the film. I was so happy. I was so happy that they had Boots in the film and not just in like the marketing
In the trailer.
video. I was like,
Okay, one more. Just so I can completely milk it for all it's worth. Zach Kreger for Best Director, because I don't think like Gladys wouldn't exist without his comedic
You're right.
timing and understanding of how to combine horror and the inspiration of this film, largely of course coming from like the loss of his close friend, part of the Wise Kids You Know gang. Two other quick movies that I'm shocked didn't really make any appearance in any categories. Eddington, in what specifically was it the best lead performances? I don't know if I would have actually put like Pedro or Joaquin in best actor or best supporting actor necessarily, but like I don't know, the fact that it got zero recognition at all is odd to me. Like maybe maybe best director, though I don't think it's Ari's best movie. So I think I get why it's not here necessarily, but it still feels like a bit of a snub because I just want it to be in some capacity.
Right.
And then also another weird one that I guess it just did not have enough momentum behind it to get anything really done. Twinless with Dylan O'Brien, James Sweeney. And
I still haven't gotten a chance to see that one.
It appeared, it fell off the face of the world, and it was phenomenal. And nobody talked about it. And of course, it didn't get any attention. There was no campaign for it to be nominated for anything. So it just didn't happen by the nature of it not having legs, which is, it's what happens, but it's a real shame because it's incredible actor-director. Of course, James Sweeney, Dylan O'Brien and him have an incredible dynamic, really touching, kind of weird, like a new take on kind of, I don't know, modern queer media in a way that I haven't really seen done as effectively before. It just felt very fresh for what it was trying to do. So yeah, I would have loved to see it get like anything again.
Yeah, wait, Alice, you had something.
I did?
Yeah.
Oh, do I? Well, I mean, again, a lot of my favorite films of the year were not nominated. Like, I loved Urchin. I loved Sorry Baby. I loved Eleanor the Great. I loved The Long Walk. I had a lot of really random picks.
No other choice.
No other choice.
That was that's on my list.
Completely
No other
forgot.
choice. No screenplay for it. No freaking international for it. It's a travesty. I'm like, what did Park Win-Chu do to not make it in with the Academy? What's going on here? Like, it's so annoying.
Why?
And then Joel Edgerton for Train Dreams. I was very mad he didn't get in for actor. I actually really wanted him in.
That's right. Joel Edgerton. No other choice. And I think so. There's one personal pick I'm gonna give for best international feature. I don't know whether you guys have seen it. It's called Homebound. It's from India. And fun fact, Martin Scorsese actually produced that film.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Is it
like a crime thriller kind of?
No. So Homebound is actually it's set in India during the pandemic, and it's sort of based on so what happened in India was, since we are a home to a lot of migrant workers, they were literally forced out of their homes to go back to their original hometown and their villages. But because of so much of like restrictions, there was a lot of like border patrol, there was a lot of like racism going on, and not necessarily like racism, but casteism going on in India, especially because like most of the migrant workers in India belong to lower castes. So the story is literally about that. It's about the exodus of migrant workers in India and how two friends belonging to polar opposite castes and religion fall prey to all of this to fall prey to all of these like divisions that fall upon them, especially since they're both in pursuit of like getting a job and like improving their life in some way or another. But then the pandemic happens and they're like, because like having a big shot, I mean, very rarely would you see a big shot like Martin Scorsese produce an Indian film, let alone a film about the pandemic, and which is not exactly like you know, how do I say this? You know what? Why don't you guys check it out? Check it out on Netflix.
Homebound, you said?
Yes, it's called Homebound. Highly recommend. And yeah, I feel for that film. All right, let's move on. Directors, or as we YouTubers like to call them, I don't know what we call them. That joke landed.
Well, apparently you call them YouTubers now, right? Because Mark Fishbuck's directing his like Iron Lung horror movie, and
yes, I really want to see that.
Okay,
do you guys? For him.
You guys know Discussing Film on Twitter, that like Twitter account?
Yeah.
Discussing Fish, the parody one.
Yes.
So Discussing Fish put one out like the other day, and it was like Jacksepticeye tapped to direct Cormac McCarthy novel adaptation, and he ran with it for a bit, and he was kind of like, "Dude, I love
That's
Cormac McCarthy."
funny. That's
like Blood
funny.
Meridian, I think it was.
Yeah. All right, so let's get to our directors list who are not YouTubers, but stalwarts in their own field. Blah, blah. That joke failed. Joke failed successfully. Yay! All right, we've got Chloe Zhao for Hamnet, Josh Safdie for Marty Supreme, Paul Thomas Anderson for One Battle After Another, Joaquin Trier for Sentimental Value, and Ryan Coogler for Sinners. Who wants to do it? Who wants to say it out
I
loud?
think
Wait,
I
can you repeat
open
it again? I'm so sorry.
All right. Chloe Zhao for Hamnet, Josh Safdie for Marty Supreme, Paul Thomas Anderson for One Battle After Another, Joaquin Trier for Sentimental Value, and Ryan Coogler for Sinners.
I think, just initially looking at this,
Hmm.
I think my decision's pretty easy based on, of course, what I've seen, what my preferences are. I would pick Josh Safdie. I would give it to him for sure. I would predict Paul Thomas Anderson for One Battle After Another, though. I think there's too much momentum behind that movie for it to. We'll get to it in a second, but typically what your assumption about Best Director says about your assumption about Best Picture for the year. So that's kind of where I think that link's going to happen. It's very rare that they split Best Director and Best Picture.
No, they're not. They're not.
So in this case, it would be, I'd predict One Battle. I would pick Josh Safdie myself because I'm really impressed by what he's been able to do on his own, of course. As we've seen directing duos kind of come and go, I'm glad to see that the spark is not lost just because they're no longer collaborating in the same capacity anymore. And then Dark Horse, it really could go to basically anyone else. Like Dark Horse, Chloe Zhao, Dark Horse, Joanne Trier, Dark Horse, Ryan Coogler, like they all have a full argument for why they should get it and why I could see the Academy giving it to them. But I don't know. I think Dark Horse might go to... Okay, just to simplify it. My pick is Josh Safdie, my prediction's Paul Thomas Anderson, and my dark horse is Josh Safdie. I think that if it doesn't go to Paul Thomas Anderson, it will go to Josh. So that's kind of how I'm seeing the cards fall.
That's so interesting.
For-
You go.
I'd say I'm sort of predicting a Naruto moment happening for Sinners. So that's why I'm going to say Ryan Coogler is not going to win. Best Director is going to go to Paul Thomas Anderson. Where Ryan Coogler could win, though, is Original Screenplay and Best Picture. My prediction is Paul Thomas Anderson. My pick, ideally, would be Ryan Coogler, but I'm pretty sure that's not going to happen. I'm pretty sure there's going to be an Argo moment happening for Sinners. I am going to give my surprise to Chloe Zhao. Yeah, because, I mean, let's face it, Hamnet is a beautiful film. And plus, you also have Steven Spielberg behind her, so... Presto changio! Anything can happen. Wait, Alice, what about you?
Okay. So, my prediction is also PTA, only because he's had such a long and illustrious career as like a famously underrated director. And I think having his first real like blockbuster has everybody very excited. Whether or not it's even his best work, I don't think matters very much. I think people are just excited to see PTA in the spotlight. Not like I think he's amazing, and I think that there's a lot of interesting things about the movie, but it's like, to me, too corny and white saviory, and it doesn't actually back up its own politics in any real way. Like, given what the movie's about, the fact that nobody in any of the press tours and in any of the speeches and anything has said literally anything about what's going on, which is like real life enactment of what happened in the movie, tells me how hollow the actual movie was, and that it was never actually about any of those things, and that it was just, I don't even want to say Oscar bait, because I think the term Oscar bait is overused and doesn't really have any real meaning, but it is like pretentious bait. And because if it was actually about what it claims to be about, they'd be saying literally anything.
It ironically,
absolutely zilch.
It co-opted the revolutionary aesthetics that it was complaining about being co-opted. I mean, especially alongside other movies that have like been able to adapt that era of, I mean, like Judas and the Black Messiah, for example. Phenomenal adaptation of a true moment in American history where real revolutionaries are operating and being undermined by the actual the literal shadow
actual
government.
System. And it's like, and it's exciting, and it's not just like a serious bummer movie. Like Judas and the Black Messiah is a really exciting intrigue.
I love the worlds that Paul Thomas Anderson can create. I love the fact that he's got all these kind of allegories and like analogous bodies represented that are kind of stand-ins for these different like archetypical forces in the real world. But because of that, there's a lot of decoding that's placed on the job of the viewer to kind of like draw the parallels and correlations, and
which
it loses a bit of its
I
momentum.
would love.
Yeah.
Which normally I would love, but I think the fact that the decoding and symbolism is all coming from a place that is at the end of the day sort of hollow.
Right.
If it actually was coming from what it claims to be about, it would be more genuinely resonant and not just like a fun spectacle. And it wouldn't just be about these like white men, and it would instead be about the actual people who are the revolutionaries and victims and survivors of the story, who are all kind of set dressing in the film. And so I think that he has a very good shot of winning. So that's why he's my prediction, because of the fact that he's Paul Thomas Anderson and because of the fact that everyone's excited that he's in the zeitgeist right now. But my pick and my dark horse are going back and forth with each other, because I think they both could be Ryan Coogler or Chloe Zhao. I love Joachim Trier, but I think what really stands out about the film is the performances and the writing.
Right.
I think he's a very gentle touch director, which I think is great and creates some amazing performances, but it doesn't necessarily lend itself to a best director kind of a nod, because I don't think he is which is a shame, but like I just don't think that he makes sense for that category. But I think that Ryan Coogler, I think he's been doing a pretty good job on his press tour, and I really think that the vision for the movie, even if not every element worked for me, the vision was crystal clear, and it was backed up by what it's about, and it was really rooted in not only African American history, but Irish history and Chinese history, and the history of the blues, which is very personal to me, which Preetha knows, because my father was a jazz pianist and actually played with Buddy Guy many years ago. Probably around that era when Smoke or whoever comes back with Haley Steinfeld and they visit the bar. That's like probably what, the 80s? Like that's probably around when my dad was playing with Buddy Guy.
Wow.
So like that felt very personal to me, and I really think that it takes an incredible vision from that higher level to see all of these elements and have them not only go together so seamlessly, but also stand out so interestingly in their own ways. And I've noticed different things about the film upon rewatching. And I think that that's the mark of great direction, is like that element of noticing new details each time, because it's so fluid and seamless. that things aren't like standing out immediately, and you can like go through it as a text almost and like revisit it as a text. So, but then Chloe Zhao, I think people love Chloe Zhao, and I think people are sick of not getting to vote for a woman. And so I think that, not to undermine her work on Hamnet, because I think it was amazing, but I think as a director, she earned it more for Nomadland. And I don't necessarily think that, like,
the Academy loves repeating itself.
I actually was going to say the opposite. I think that there were other female directors that could have gotten recognition this year that didn't, and I think that's a shame. So I think that there is a chance that people will vote for that reason.
You're right.
So that's why she's my dark horse. And then Ryan is my personal pick. And I would love to work with him. Oh my God, I would fucking.
Me too, Ryan. You.
I think he really has an incredible eye as a filmmaker, and his cinematographer has an incredible eye, and they, I guess, have a good relationship. And the fact that he carries his team with him throughout projects, and like Ludwig Göransson and all of that, like I really respect the hell out of it. And like growing with your team and believing in them is really, really important. And I think that, I mean, there's sometimes that it doesn't work as well, like in the case of John M. Chu. I think he sort of did that with his team that he's been working with for many, many years, and bringing them into something like Wicked, I think was a risk, and it doesn't always pay off. But I think that with Ryan, I think he really has magic going, and I think he's going to make other amazing things. Even if he doesn't win for Sinners, I know he's going to win Best Director at some point.
Yeah,
and at least I hope.
Yeah, I agree. I have the same as you, just with slightly different reasoning. PTA is my prediction. I think the wave is it's going for PTA right now. Kind of feels like a career moment right now as well, celebrating his career and more of that narrative. And in a fairer world, I would say that, and I'm very mad about it, is that if One Battle had not released, Sinners would be dominating the conversation. And it would be a much different conversation. And I feel bad because my personal pick is Ryan Coogler, and I loved his direction in Sinners. I thought his direction, and just as a director, he has just grown with each film. And particularly, I like seeing his benchmarks right now with, in this case, with Michael B. Jordan, because each film, I think he just gradually gets better and better and better. And this feels like, it's like reaching that peak. And, I would love to see him celebrated for this. I would love for him to be the upset. But I feel like the momentum is just too strong on PTA right now, so it won't happen. I hope I'm wrong, but we'll see what happens. And then for a dark horse, Chloe Zhao could surprise, and I wouldn't be surprised at the same time. As you mentioned, the team behind it as well. You have Spielberg, you have Sam Mendes, and the push that they have been doing on this film as well. It's stayed in the conversation. Particularly Chloe herself, she's been campaigning since the beginning of this, and there's been no stopping for her. And we recently sat down with the editor and Alfonso, and he was very, very good on it, talking about the process of how this film came together and how originally Spielberg passed, Mendes passed, Zhao passed, and then she came back onto it, and how basically all the elements that got cooked up together to do this film, that in the words that were said in this conversation, basically it's just, if Zhao had not done it with the team that she felt comfortable with, and having the meticulous notes from Spielberg and from Mendes, that she felt like this film could have just gotten lost in the void. And that's why when she was doing this film, she just wanted to feel so connected with so many different elements, particularly with nature, and how that direction made her film go ahead and push it into this new scope for her. And, and we were all just like, surprised of just how much that she was just like not wanting to do the film, and how that direction changed. And it clearly shows on the screen how she fell in love with the material. And I feel like that's been translating, where it's like, where you've had this 3-horse race of, okay, it's obviously One Battle versus Sinners, but the dark horse throughout this conversation, I know a lot of people were saying is Marty Supreme, and I agree. There are some strong elements of it, but I feel like Hamnet kind of surpasses it just a little bit enough that that's where my number 3 would be on that, where it's like, if Sinners and One Battle weren't here in this conversation, Hamnet would be dominating it.
You're right.
So yeah, that's it for director.
Well, now we've got to see who is going to dominate the Best Picture race. Which, well, there are fairly some competitors and a few surprises too. I'm gonna go. All right, let's do this. Best Picture. Your nominees are Begonia, F1 for God knows why reason, Frankenstein, Hamnet, Marty Supreme, One Battle After Another, The Secret Agent, Sinners, Sentimental Value, and Train Dreams. Okay, I'm gonna put it out there. Whoever decided F1 is going to win Best Picture.
You need one. You need one industry one in there. This is your Infinity War. This is your Avatar Fire and Ash. This is your, like, if a Harry Potter movie came out this year, that would be in the spot too. Like,
well, this is also instead of like Wicked Part 2, because like
yeah,
Wicked
exactly.
Part 2 didn't end up being good, so
2.
they didn't know what to do.
Well,
They could have done Superman if Superman was more
No.
good.
I mean,
I have arguments on this one because F1 very much is packaged like 4v Ferrari, like down to the nominations. Like there's a very
that is true. That is, they did package themselves as the next 4v Ferrari. I'll give you that. But
Dudes love cars, man.
it's like
Vroom, vroom.
Avatar. It's like the Avatar Fire and Ash
Which
getting
is another
nominated for
catch me.
costumes, which
Don't get me started on that. Testament Van Lee could have easily taken that spot.
But there are no costumes.
They got visual
It's
effects.
CGI.
yeah, exactly. It's like
Is that real?
It is real.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
why I said Testament Van Lee should have taken that spot.
Yeah. So it's I mean it's the logic behind some of these plays is a little bit interesting. And
That's how I feel about editing. I have a lot to say about the
no,
editing.
you don't get it.
Here,
More
I think they all
editing means
suck.
it's better at editing. More editing means good.
Don't even
I
get
think-
fucking started.
No, I think Alice may have served us some of the most iconic memes to come up from this round.
Okay.
Yeah,
There's- Oh, it's the hardest category because it is, of course, double the amount of
it's
nominees.
the most
as
invisible.
well.
Yeah.
You're right.
And I mean, I know there's like this gradual creep. I'm very happy with the current. It's a reasonable number. The current thing of like 5 noms per and then 10 for Best Picture, I am perfectly happy with. I hope that they don't keep bloating it longer and longer to the point that it becomes this like infinite scroll.
I don't want it to
honestly-
lose meaning. I
It's
get
like
that people
you
are
get
upset, but I
Yeah.
don't want it
You
to
get
lose.
nominated. Everybody gets
I would
nominated.
actually love if Best Picture was even like 7 or 8 maybe rather than 10.
You're right.
But
Because then we wouldn't
Yeah.
even need to bother with F1.
hey, you said it. I didn't say it. There's a few on the list though. It's not that I don't think they have a chance. I am also not as confused as F1, but I'm just like, I
agree.
don't think that they're up for Best Picture, but they're definitely in the conversation at the moment. So I get why they made an appearance.
Yeah,
but
like
yeah.
congrats for being in the conversation, but it's like the nomination is the win.
yes.
Yeah. That's
For a lot of these. Like there's for a lot of them there's just no shot.
You know, I'd say like films like Sentimental Value and Secret Agent, they do have a shot.
Yeah.
And
But like Train Dreams
That
doesn't.
would be-
There's not
yeah,
enough
that would be-
nominations in any other category.
yeah,
It's not buzzy. Like there's beautiful things about it, and a lot of people who've seen it like it, but like nobody knows about it, even though
Yeah,
it's
I would-
like
Similarly, I think Hamnet and Frankenstein could probably get knocked off this list. Not that they're bad movies. I just don't think
Frankenstein,
they have a shot.
yes, but Hamnet, no. I think
Hamnet,
Hamnet could have a
maybe.
shot because it's in the director conversation in a more.
No,
Plus,
that
it
is
did
true.
win.
That's true.
It did win Best Picture Drama at the Golden Globes. So
Yeah, no, so it's earned its spot. I not to put them in the
Yeah,
same.
I think
basket, of course.
Frankenstein is going to have a harder time just because it wasn't strong enough in a lot of the other categories.
yeah,
And I love, believe believe me, I love Guillermo del Toro, and I did really like a lot about Frankenstein, and I'm really looking forward to seeing this extended cut that they're releasing, because I wonder if that will fix some of the problems that I had with that movie. But I mean, like, it's certainly a beautiful film and certainly very clearly lovingly crafted. It's just not, it just doesn't add up in the same way that a lot of his other films do. So I just don't think it's as strong as of a competitor.
Okay, I think I can make, just in case I have to hop off at 2. I got my top 3, I think.
Yeah, give us your big 3.
Really quick run through of the noms, just to kind of like talk it through for a second. Begonia, I don't think has any shot. It's not Yorgos's best performance. It was a perfectly fun movie. I had a great time with it. It was a neat character study. Stavros jump scare was kind of funny. That was nice. I didn't really get why he was there, what his character really brought to the table in the same way. But I just don't, it doesn't have a chance. It is not the best picture of the year. Okay, F1, as we have discussed. Frankenstein, likewise, had a lot of buzz around it. What I was most disappointed about this was that it has not been that long since Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio came out. I was really excited to see his new interpretation of a classic, well understood story, right? And the fact that it was, at least in my experience, like a adaptation of Frankenstein that nixed a lot of elements I really liked from the original story and didn't add enough to make it more unique, just kind of felt like a chopped down version of a really tight narrative that lost a lot of its thematic punch by removing some of Shelley's original elements from it. So I think it's off the table because of that. Hamnet's a heartbreaker, so it deserves to be here, of course, alongside with the directing. Marty Supreme, of course, is here. One Battle, of course, is here. Secret Agent is, of course, here. Sentimental makes sense. Sinners makes sense. And then Train Dreams, like you said, I don't really think has that great of a hit. So, or great of a shot. So between everything here, personal pick, I would probably say Marty Supreme, and that might just be a little bit of recency bias as well talking, because I, of course, saw it more recently and everyone did, and so it's a bit more fresh in our minds, but it really was fresh. I loved Safdies. They have a very unique voice to the type of movies that they make, so I would probably pick Marty on this. Prediction, because like we said, with the director, leads typically into Best Picture. Prediction has to go to One Battle After Another. I'm pretty confident that they're going to be sweeping a lot this year. And then Dark Horse. Dark Horse is between Hamnet and Secret Agent. And because I think maybe there would be the Dark Horse where they give it to Hamnet for Best Director, I don't think that would guarantee it gets Best Picture at that point. So my Dark Horse for this would have to go to the Secret Agent, I think. So that's my 3. Pick Marty, Prediction, One Battle, Dark Horse, Secret Agent.
I'm gonna pick One Battle. I'm gonna actually predict that. Sorry, my pick and Prediction both would be Sinners. I'm gonna predict that there is an Argo moment gonna happen. Same thing, because if you guys remember with Argo, it didn't win any award. I mean, I think it won only writing for Ben Affleck and Best Picture directly. I think the same thing is gonna happen for Sinners. My surprise is gonna go to the Secret Agent, because I mean, given the times, given the period that we are living in, I'm gonna give that film my surprise shot. Because I mean, if you have Wagner Moura backing it himself, you know that it's got something. So I'm gonna give it that.
My prediction is between One Battle and Sinners. I actually do think Sinners has a shot, only because of how often it's been re-released and the fact that those re-releases have been going well.
Yeah.
Like, it has been getting,
like, even this weekend it's sold out.
Like people are talking about it. People are not only just talking about it, but people are going to it. I think that One Battle has a slightly better chance. But like, I think that they're both serious contenders. My pick would be between Sinners and Sentimental Value, probably. As much as was Blue Moon on this list?
No.
Right, never mind. I love Blue Moon.
Why would it be?
I wouldn't mind it.
I wouldn't
Blue
be
Moon
upset.
without-
I'm
wouldn't be
sorry.
upset.
I'm voicing the Academy. I'm not saying that
Okay.
from my perspective.
Okay, you're right. But yeah, it would be between Sentimental and Sinners. But I do think Hamnet could have a dark horse moment, only because, I mean, between Chloe Zhao and the way people loved Paul Mescal and Jessie Buckley,
Right.
and like it's a beloved story, like the beginnings of William Shakespeare as a man, and the beginnings of Hamlet as a concept of being created. And I mean, even just for that moment alone of Paul Mescal standing on the bridge coming up with To Be or Not to Be when he's like about to maybe kill himself, like that. And it's also kind of about the origin of the modern theatrical experience.
Right.
Like the very beginnings of the concept of like the common people and the aristocrats all going to the theater to experience a story, in a lot of ways started with Shakespeare, because until then it was really like the Greek sensibility of theater, which was just very different. And I feel like in Shakespeare recontextualized dramatic storytelling, which is why we have movies in the first place. So in a lot of ways, it's almost the ultimate OG Oscar bait in that way.
You're right.
And it had, to me, a lot more actual catharsis than a lot of the other films. Like there was very few movies this year where like there's a lot of great tension and stuff built, but where like I really like released a breath and there was a real like moment of the story. I think that was missing in a lot of movies this year, and I think Hamnet did have that in the end, this kind of like culmination moment that felt like a moment of true catharsis. And I think that like there that adrenaline hit and release, I feel like it was most strong of all those picks in Hamnet. So Hamnet's my dark horse. My real prediction is One Battle After Another, but I also think that Sinners is a shot, which would also be my pick.
Yeah, I agree with you, Alice. It's the same reasoning I had for director in the same list as well, where it's One Battle, my prediction, and again, the wave is going to it, but my personal pick is Sinners. Again, I think if One Battle hadn't released this year, Sinners would just be winning the conversation already. There's nothing else to talk about here on that. And I hope Sinners does upset. I hope it does get it. I think just having the most historical amount of nominations, 16 nominations.
16 nominations.
Pushing in its
I don't want to hear
favor.
anyone talk about how it's underrated anymore.
God,
I don't need to hear
it
anybody talking about it being underrated. It's the most nominated Oscar film in history. That's like
Ever.
calling Beyonce
And
underrated. Like, I don't want to hear it.
Yeah, and if casting were in here, it'd still be the most nominated because it would still have 15.
Yeah.
So it's like story is done. So I hope Sinners upsets. I think there is a good Argo scenario. I think that is very much in the cards, and I hope that's the case. Although it's going to be like the same argument that poor Ben Affleck has to go through. It's like, well, yeah, I won Best Picture, but clearly no one directed it. And it's just like, it's that frustrating conversation. But, a win is a win on that note. But I hope Sinners does end up upsetting. But the dark horse, is Hamnet. I think, like I said, it's been this three-way race in a lot of ways. I think, again, the producing royalty team behind that as well is a big push. And it's very much in the play of it's Shakespeare. People love this material. And you would think it would feel dated, but then it was just done with such care and translated very well. It's still
And has a strong
very
visual
nicely.
language that's very memorable.
Yes.
It does. It does. And it plays well in all its elements where it didn't miss where other categories have missed. For example, like Hamnet got in for score, but Marty Supreme didn't. And, score tends to have a bigger push when it comes to Best Picture because you want to be packaged a little better. There are different elements when you really look at these Best Picture nominees where it's like, okay, you can see where their strengths are and where their strengths aren't. Like, one frustrating factor, and I'll put it to bed, is just like, I know a lot of people didn't have F1 on their Best Picture list. I
It wasn't on my.
I-
It wasn't on anyone's bingo card.
I knew it was getting nominated, and I was one of the very few, and I got it in, and people were calling me mental. I'm like, guys, you have to look at how that film is packaged and how it's been doing on a nomination trail. It's like editing, score, and also just the amount of just
Sound design,
hit
a lot of the craft awards.
Yeah, it hit the mark where like Wicked, fell, Superman, all the comic book movies, IP property,
It's
where
this year's
just
Top
they
Gun.
it
This year's Top Gun, you're
underperformed
right.
and filled in that void, and it's filmed by Kaczynski, so it's like
yeah, like
you have all these little factors here where it's like, and when you look at how it was packaged, it's the equivalent of how, like I said, Ford v Ferrari was packaged, and I'm like, okay, people are saying it's a left choice field, but I'm like, really, when you look at it, it has precedent to get in there. So it's like a lot of these pictures here, they all have their own justification or reasoning to be on this list, but it's like when we're really honing in and focusing on who should be this three-leg race here, it's One Battle, it's Sinners, it's Hamnet, and then everyone else in between, it's just a celebration on them. So that's
Exactly.
kind of where I land on it.
Exactly. Well, at least like Mission Impossible is not nominated. Yay!
It didn't get in anywhere, and
Yay!
There was a few.
Yay!
There was a few. I mean, the opposite of snubs would be like dodged bullets, like things like realities that could have been that I'm glad weren't. I am so glad that Kevin O'Leary did not get Eddie.
Oh my
God! If he was on
yes.
Best Supporting Actor, even just on the list, I think he
Oh
would
my
die
God,
from
yeah.
the size of his brain expanding inside of his skull.
Which
Like
it's funny because I actually do think his performance was outstanding.
he was
But
great.
You're right,
He
that
was
we-
so
you're
good.
right that like as a society we don't need to reward this man anymore.
No,
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying, right? Him being
But he
in a
really
movie
was
where-
fucking
where
amazing.
They were
I
like,
totally
hey,
forgot.
we need you to play your specific brand of asshole. And he's kind of like, oh, great. I'll give you the whole package. Like,
Yeah, he's
But like he
kinda
also
playing himself.
transformed in a weird way. Like I didn't recognize him. Like other
Yeah,
like
for sure.
which- he didn't look visually that different other than being like much tanner and leatherier. But like
well, also
Yeah,
the other weird cameo in that, Penn Jillette from Penn and Teller is the guy that
Yeah.
lives in the house that steals the
Yeah.
dog.
Yeah.
Like, I like in the way that Sean Baker does phenomenal just casting of either people that have lived experience in the roles he's casting for or some guy known for something completely different. I love it. I love it so much.
Yeah,
yeah.
that's
A lot of New York,
Yeah.
a lot of New York royalty in Marty Supreme,
Mhm.
and a lot of it was shot in my old neighborhood on the Lower East Side.
Lower East
And so, like,
Side.
so
Yeah,
that was
Lower
really
East Side rap.
wonderful to see when I was like, I'd be walking home from work and they'd be shooting, and I had some friends in the production, so I would sneak onto set and
Why
grab a
did you
snack.
invite me?
Very cool.
Why did you invite me?
Well, because I knew the crew, so like I could get away with sort of pretending to be crew. Like people recognized me from other projects, so it wouldn't be like totally.
You New Yorkers, you always get all the
It wouldn't be too
We do.
unheard of.
No,
But like,
I only angry because as a guy from Toronto, so many movies that are shot here
bro,
pretend
you
to
have
be
plenty
New
over
York.
there.
No, that's what I'm saying. But they all pretend to be in New York. There's like so rarely movies that are filmed and set in Toronto. So I'm incredibly excited for Nirvana the band to show the movie, which is so explicitly set in Toronto. It gets annoying at a certain point.
Actually, didn't know that. That's pretty funny.
Yeah. And well, there you have it. We have jotted down our predictions. We're going to be so excited on March 15th when Conan O'Brien breaks out with another comedic
This guy.
jig.
Yeah.
And hopefully
the
he'll bring
best
on
decision they've made, easily.
yeah, and hopefully he'll bring on the Dune Sandworm again to conduct the music.
Oh God, I hope so.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, all right, guys. Thank you
Thank you so much for having us,
joining. Thank you so much for joining.
Thanks.
And yeah, this was literally so much fun. And let's see if our predictions come true. Woo!
It's a pleasure as always. Best of luck to everybody.
Best
of
of luck
luck.
to everybody. Bye.
See you around.
Bye.